metal album, and I wouldn't be surprised that people wouldn't know this album. And by the title of the review, we are going to be reviewing a classic 1989 album, Autopsy, Severed Survival. Now, Autopsy is a band that was formed by Chris Ryford, which he played on the legendary first wave death metal album, Death, Scream, Bloody Gore. And after the Scream, Bloody Gore album, he didn't want to do work in, like, he didn't want to be in death anymore after, like, him going back and forward from Florida to San Francisco. So after that, he wanted to form Autopsy, and they released a demo back in 1987, which is the Autopsy 1987 demo. This is original pressing from '87 with the cassette and the tracks on here that were there's only 2 tracks that are on the first album, which is Embalmed. Stillborn. And there's only 2 tracks that are not on the Severed Survival album: Human Genocide and Mutilate Death to Death. My bad. And then they released a demo after this in '88 called Criminally Insane. Then after that, they got signed to Peaceville, and they recorded this album in Starstown Studio in around early '89, and then it got released probably around the middle of '89. This was produced, actually, funny fact, by Kirk Hammett's guitar tech from Metallica. He produced the tracks and engineered it, I believe. And technically, the bass player that was on this album is Steve DiGiorgio, that was in Sadist, and you know him for a ton of other bands like Death and Testament and whatnot. We all know what Steve DiGiorgio does now. But this version of Severed Survival, which the original version of Severed Survival is this, because they had one other artwork that was kind of a tribute to Hellraiser. Or kind of like that, but this is technically the original pressing of it. This came out in '89, and I think I like both the original artworks. The one with the one that looks like the Hellraiser one, and then this one. This was released off Peaceville, and this is a classic death metal album. This pretty much inspired a lot of bands such like Incantation, Immolation, Cannibal Corpse, Entombed, A lot of death metal bands were inspired off this one, you know, among others. But this was one of the most heaviest death metal albums of its time, along with Ultras of Madness, Slowly Rot, Consuming Impulse, and shoot, I even throw Beneath the Remains in there too, even though at more is more on the thrashy side of things, but I would still consider it. This is different from a lot of the records at the time, because a lot of records at the time that was produced back in '89 that were death metal records were produced at the legendary Scott Burns Moore Sound, Florida. This is nothing close to that. The production on this is very bassy, and if like it sounds disgusting. It just like, it reminds me of a mixture of Hellhammer and like some other stuff that I would consider this would be like. But Severed Survival is great beginning to end. My favorite tracks are Chartered Remains, Stillborn, Embalm, Critical Madness. The lyrics on this are just disgusting and vile. It gives like, this is the death metal album that describes, like, in my opinion, it's like when you want to put like the most horrific music that describes something very well, this is it. This is the album, because this is a one band that can make the most disgusting lyrics, in my opinion, and come off really, really fucking good music. But yeah, Autopsy, Severed Survival, and highly recommended album. I'm Rock and Roll Snaggletooth, and I'm signing off.